Hey, this is Misty Kortes. And if you want to learn the 6 and 7 figure science to success, significantly increase your revenue, and learn how to successfully build your professional relationships, you should be listening to Sell Without Selling podcast with my good friend, Stacey O'Byrne.
If you're ready to get out of your own way to follow the 7-figure science of success, then welcome to Sell Without Selling. Tune in with renowned international speaker Stacey O'Byrne as she shows you how mastering relationships, achieving the proper mindset, and attaining the necessary motivation will catapult you away from failure and onto your journey to greatness. And now, here is your host, Stacey O'Byrne.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Sell Without Selling. I'm your host, Stacey O'Byrne, and I believe that learning the art and the science of how to sell without selling is the only way to achieve high 6 and 7-figure success. Today, I'm speaking with a really good friend of mine, Misty Kortes. Misty is a passionate entrepreneur and business owner who has empowered many small businesses to succeed when it comes to marketing their business, which is something I'm sure a lot of you are very interested in. With her formal education in marketing, over 2 decades of speaking and training, and more importantly, her real life in the trenches business experience, Misty knew she had to share her insider secrets to success with other small business owners. Compelled by a strong desire to share her expert experience and knowledge, Misty created Your Marketing Coach, a marketing firm that empowers entrepreneurs to succeed and accomplish their dreams. I am so excited for you to hear my conversation with Misty today. I believe that learning the art and the science of how to sell without selling is the only way to achieve high 6 and 7-figure success. Really quick, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, sales professional, and you haven't hit the level of success that you wanted or needed, or if you're stuck and needing a pivot in your business and your success, or maybe you just want more, and you understand the importance of having a coach to help identify the blind spots, increase accountability, and help with success strategies to take you, your business, your income, and your success to the next level. If this sounds like something for you, then head over to pivotpointadvantage.com/I-want-success. That's pivotpointadvantage.com/I-want-success. There's a quick application there that will lead to a phone call with us to make sure we're a great fit for each other. Okay, let's do this. Misty, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I am so excited to have you here. You know, your topic is one of my most favorite topics because I think it's one that entrepreneurs and business owners, especially the self-employed, need the most and really consider the least.
Yes.
So before we really dive deep into our topic, it's important for me, for our listeners, to really get to know you because, you know, getting to know you was what really connected me to you. You know, you're not the typical marketer. You know, you really got in the trenches. And as you and I have had many conversations with, you really get what it's like to need to bootstrap a business. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you and I share a lot in common with that. So whatever got you into this journey of being an entrepreneur, and especially in marketing?
Funny you ask. I say this all the time because I was born an entrepreneur, and I was just wired that way. I mean, I remember back like when I was in the first grade, where normal kids would run out to the playground to go play. Not me. I'd take my crayons, my markers, whatever I had, colored pencils and paper, run out to the nearest tree, go sit down, and I would be drawing pictures, and so that I could sell them on the next recess. Right? And then I got kind of smart because I figured out once the kids would buy 1 or 2 pictures, they wouldn't come back to get more. And this is clearly years ago, right? Dating myself a bit, but I would actually make little tattoos with number 2 pencils or pen where you'd kind of lick them and stick them. And so the kids would come back every day to get those, and I sold them for a nickel. So I was always looking for ways to like bring my customers back, even back in the first grade. So My entrepreneurial spirit runs deep. I mean, I've dragged my husband into more opportunities than he probably would love to, admit. But, I've had core businesses obviously throughout the years, but, my husband and I got married young. We have 4 children, and we were always just looking for ways to make extra money on the side. And every venture I've ever pursued, I've been very blessed and fortunate to be able to make some money at it.
So, I think one of many things that hold people back from being successful are excuses, and you and I have a lot of those from our past. I have a belief that our past doesn't define us, our past creates us, right? And things weren't easy. I mean, like you said, you and your husband got married really young and had kids, and your past created an opportunity to where I'll lovingly say it probably wasn't easy for you to learn how to trust people, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
well, that firsthand, actually.
Right. And being an entrepreneur and being self-employed, trust is something that we really need to embrace, right? Not only trust of self and trust of others, and we definitely can't trust others till we trust ourselves. Sure. So how did your past help you and hinder you from your journey to success?
As I think about the ups and downs, in the past that we've gone through, I would say it was more of a blessing than a curse. Yeah. And the reason is because there were moments where I didn't look at it like that, brief moments. I usually don't wallow too long in my self-pity, but it was more of a blessing because I don't know, I'm wired that when my back's against the wall, I'll come out swinging, like I'll figure it out. Right. And it's in those moments that things seem like the worst that I get the most creative. When things are comfortable, you just kind of go status quo and just kind of drift, I feel like. And so it was actually I used to say all the time, like, the funny thing is, you can't fall off the floor. Right. Yeah. So when you're down to nothing, the good news is you can't fall off the floor. Yeah. The bad news is some days it's hard to get up. Right. Yeah. But the thing is like when you're on the floor level, the mindset that I always had was this is as bad as it can get. And I'd actually even almost give myself permission to take like 15 minutes and create the story in my mind that actually isn't happening, that isn't true yet, but I'd give myself permission to go, what's the worst thing that can happen if I take this risk, if I take this challenge, if I move forward with this idea, right? And when I play it out in my mind, it's almost like emotionally I'm already feeling what it would feel like if that happened. And because of that, it gives me the courage to actually move forward because I've already experienced it. And I've never jumped out of an airplane, nor do I intend to. But for those who have, I'm sure it's something like, oh crap, I don't want to do this. And then you jump and then you're like, wow, this was amazing, right? Well, the simple fact of taking a few minutes to allow yourself to feel emotionally what it would feel like or look like if everything went to crap and didn't play out as you wanted it to, you've already experienced the pain. So now there's nothing to lose. Right. But to take the action.
So I got to tell you, I love your analogy about jumping out of a plane. I have jumped out of a plane. I was airborne in the Army. And I remember that feeling where we stood up and hooked up. And then, we were, so it's called stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
Shuffle. They'd have to push to the door.
Well, I mean, that gear is heavy, right? So, stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door, count the 3, and you're out the door. Yeah. So I remember standing up, hooking up, and then wanting to throw up. And then, you know, we're a line and everyone's shuffling and you're being pushed. And I got to the door and I froze, and that itty bitty shitty committee deployed loud. It was not letting go. And I'm standing there looking out, and then all of a sudden I felt a boot on my back. He just kicked me out. And all that was going through my mind is, what did I do? What did I do? I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Right. And then all of a sudden my chute engaged.
Yep.
And it was the most incredible experience. And it's so metaphorically accurate to entrepreneurism. You know, you sign up, you step up, you move forward, and then that itty bitty shitty committee deploys. And it's, what did I do? What am I going to do? I'm going to fail. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then it's, oh, this is amazing.
Look at, I actually did something.
Yeah.
That was worthwhile. It wasn't playing it safe. And I think that's the reward of the risk, right? Is getting that rush of, wow, this was so worth the risk.
Yeah. You know, I remember a long time ago, a friend of mine telling me, Stacey, you know, you made it when you get sued.
Nice.
And I got to tell you, my lawsuit that I went through, I didn't feel like I made it. And then afterwards, it was like, oh my gosh, you really did, you know? And I had a coach of mine tell me, if you're not pushing the envelope to the point to where you're so uncomfortable, you're either going to throw up or pass out, you're not playing a big game. Yep. And if you're not willing to play a big game, go get a job. And, you know, she told me there's nothing wrong with having a job. Mm-hmm. It's just, to be an employee and to be an entrepreneur or self-employed are two totally different characteristics. Yep. You have to be a risk taker. Absolutely. I never looked at myself as a risk taker before. And stepping back, looking at, wow, decisions I made could have gone either way, and the actions I took determined which way they went. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. So when you're young, married, having kids, and I mean, when we say young, you were young, right?
Yeah. I was 17.
So, yeah, you were a teenager, adulting. I
can't even think about my children having children right now, and they're older than I was when I had them.
So I would venture to guess how you define success back then is probably different to how you define it today, right? So when you were first starting out, grabbing for any and every income opportunity, how did you define success then? And then what shifted, and how do you define it today?
Actually, it's been somewhat similar, although the priorities have changed. When I first started my business years ago, I never wanted to work for anyone. I knew that innately. Like I like being the boss. I like calling the shots. And I did have I actually had 3 jobs in my life, one of them in high school and midway point, and then a little bit later. And I just realized, like, I'm not wired for that environment. Right. And it stifles my creativity and makes me miserable. So that was very clear to me. But when I started my official businesses, like legit businesses, not just side hustles, I was in the mindset that I wanted to be home. I wanted to be able to raise my kids. I wanted to be on every school trip. I didn't want to have to take vacation time to take them to the doctor or the dentist. Like, I wasn't signing up for that kind of a life. And so my priority in starting my business was freedom, flexibility, and control. That's what I wanted. Right. And when you sit down and think about those 3 words, freedom, flexibility, and control, and what those mean to you in your life and how they play a role, it's huge. And it's something that, even though maybe some of my ideas failed, or when I say failed, it's not that they failed, because I actually don't believe that. I believe that, you know, every experience happens for a reason. And it's a learning process. Obviously, I call it failing forward. Right. And, so, you know, but even when things didn't go maybe the way I had wanted them to, or I didn't get the complete outcome that I was looking for, I still had freedom, flexibility, and control. And that was more important to me than anything else. And then you fast forward a few years later, when you and I first met, my ultimate goal, I had a mindset, like I had achieved a level of success as a solopreneur. And then I called myself an entrepreneur when I started bringing on some part-time help. And my focus was like, we got to get to $1 million a year. I don't know why I drew the line in the sand for that, but for me, that was like, you've achieved success. Right. And, but it's funny because even after that happened, I went back to the core of, actually, I just want freedom, flexibility, and control. Yeah. Because I've retired my husband now, 4.5 years ago. He hasn't.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been awesome. We travel. I mean, shoot, I'm now moving back into a 5-day work week, but for about 3 years, I was working, 3-4 days a week, running a great business and just having that freedom, flexibility, and control, because our kids were now grown and doing their own thing. And now my husband and I could actually live our 20s and our 40s. Nice. So yeah, it kind of has always been the same purpose. It's just, different priorities now in terms of how we spend that freedom, flexibility, and control.
Yeah, exactly. So you talk about failing forward, and you and I share a very similar opinion about that F-bomb, right? Yes. Failing. And for me, I believe there's no such thing as failure unless you choose to avoid learning from what didn't work. Right. If you choose to avoid the learnings attached to what didn't work, then yes, you're on your path to fail. However, this failing forward, how's that impacted you? Because let's face it, we both know the journey hasn't been easy for either one of us.
No,
right?
No, there's tough times, but I mean, you've heard probably the philosophy many people have, when you work out at the gym, your muscles hurt afterwards. Why? Because you're growing, you're stretching, right? I mean, that's life in a nutshell. I don't even know a better way to put it, but it's interesting. I don't know, probably over 20 years ago, I'm really dating myself today. But, I came to the realization, I'm a very graphic driven person, right? And I drew a picture on a piece of paper and I was like, this is how most people view success and failure. They're like, over here's failure, over here's success. And I live here in the middle. So every decision, every action that I take either moves me towards failure or towards success. Yeah. And actually that's not true. So where we actually are is we're all here. We all start here. We all start with, we're an empty vessel. And then as experiences happen and as we take risks and as we do things and as we participate in things and get exposed to things, we move through failure towards whatever that success is to us. But the interesting thing about it is, success isn't a destination. It's a journey. It's a journey. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I stopped thinking, okay, is this right or wrong? Because now my belief system isn't right or wrong. It's just what is. And so whatever the outcome is, it is. And we're just going to move forward in life with that outcome, whatever it is. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. It's the way I always share with people is there's always movement in life. It's a universal law. What you feed grows and what you starve dies. And life is always moving. The world is moving. Time is moving. Expenses are fluid. They're constantly moving. So if you're moving in a direction, hopefully the right direction, if you're moving, then you're staying with the growth opportunity. Any movement is better than no movement, because this philosophy of standing still is non-existent. Well, yeah, it's like, I don't like where I'm at. Then why are you staying there? Yeah, exactly. But you don't understand. I just don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. Great. Take a step forward. Take a step sideways. Just take a step. Yeah. I mean, for people who are standing still, and I say that in air quotes, because I don't think anybody intentionally admits that they're standing still, and by not taking action,
you're standing still, so to speak. And
Absolutely.
if you are not moving and everything in life is moving, then you're actually regressing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You know, like when the pandemic hit, a lot of people had made the comment, I'm going to wait till we get on the other side of this. Well, history has told us, showed us, proved to us the Spanish flu lasted 3 years, right? If you stopped and waited to get to the other side, there's not going to be an entity, a business, financial capability to achieve that longevity and need of waiting, right? Yeah. Which leads me to talking to you about your forte, right? You are a marketing guru. And one of the things that I absolutely positively loved about you was your concept of bootstrap marketing, right? It's something I had to do going through the lawsuit. It's something you had to do starting out. You know, we all start somewhere. Like you said, we all have a starting line, and success, there is no finish line. We just keep going. If there is a finish line, then you're really not on a path of success. You're on a path of a task completion.
Right. Yep.
So let's start with bootstrap marketing. Explain to us your concept of bootstrap marketing, and then we're going to take it to a multitude of other directions.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've talked to many business owners now, and a lot of them will say to me, well, when I get this, then I can do that. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. And my philosophy of bootstrap marketing is to leverage what you have now and take action with that. Right. When I started Your Marketing Coach, I started it with a $20 Staples coupon, an idea, and a free 30-day trial for Wix. Like that was my startup. I didn't have a dime I actually borrowed money just to pay my rent, like from my in-laws. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, start where you are with what you have. Mm-hmm. That's bootstrap marketing. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I was talking to an SEO specialist who mm-hmm. also is a Google specialist, right? He worked for Google, and his claim to fame is he got fired from Google because he started his own business and Google found out.
It's that boot in the back, right?
Yep. And you know, one of the most glaring things as a success strategist, as a business coach that I see is so many people either pull back on marketing because they don't have the money, or they pull back on marketing because they're too busy. Yeah. Both of which are huge mistakes.
Yep.
The other mistake that I see is they attempt to market themselves. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I always tell them, just take that stack of $100 bills and use it as kindling to start your fire, because that's basically what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. So as a marketer, as a marketing expert, your marketing coach, what's your advice to the people who aren't marketing yet? And what's your advice to people who stop marketing when they're busy?
Yeah. So I'll start with the stop marketing when busy, because I think for the most part, most people think they're marketing, right? And so they think they're doing it. And then what happens is they get on that entrepreneurial roller coaster. Mm. And it's like, I'm going to do everything I can do to try to get a client. And they get the client, right? They're at the peak of that hill. And then all of a sudden they have to fulfill and then they stop marketing. Mm-hmm. And it's a constant, you know, especially as a solopreneur and an entrepreneur, if you're the one wearing all the hats in your business, mm-hmm. It becomes increasingly difficult to prioritize marketing, because you're thinking to yourself, well, my client's the most important thing in my business. Yeah. And I would actually challenge that, because eventually the client will go away for most of us. Mm-hmm. I mean, clients have a life, you know, lifespan, and whatever that is to you and your business. But marketing is what attracts those clients. So if you're not marketing, You're not going to attract new clients. When that one goes, now you're down, it's kind of like pushing a car. Like the first time you push it, it's like, it's heavy, but the next 15 times you push it, you're starting to wear out because you're like, man, I can't keep doing this. Right. And that's the epitome of entrepreneurship is, you've got to make sure that marketing is the most important appointment on your schedule. And I say this to our clients all the time is like, no one is going to prioritize your business growth. Your clients aren't going to do it. So you have to prioritize it. So what day of the week are you going to choose to work on your business? And I can tell you as I say that it's in my bio, right? In the trenches, I know what it's like to be the solopreneur, to be wearing all the hats in your business and trying to figure out how you're going to juggle everything. And I can tell you this, marketing, finances, and client management are the top 3 priorities. Like those have to be on the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the 1/3 rule lays it out really easily. It's 1/3 of the time gets focused on marketing, 1/3 of the time on admin, 1/3 of the time on operations.
There you go.
If you don't structure your calendar, your business, your plan like that, you have a recipe for disaster. Right.
Yeah, but they go, well, wait, Misty, what happens if my client, I have my marketing scheduled on Fridays and my clients need me? Wait till Monday.
Right.
Boy, that was easy.
Yeah.
Hit that was easy button.
With that
but emotionally, it's hard, Misty, is it?
Yeah.
Or are you making it emotional?
Yeah.
Because your client, we think as business owners, we think our clients want us, want our attention 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's actually not true, right? They can't. And the funny thing about it is they can't even, our clients can't uphold that in their own business. Well, for me, I work with business owners, right? I don't expect my clients to show up for their clients like that. So why would I expect that of myself? Yeah. Right. Yeah. So again, if you don't prioritize your business and growth, no one will.
No, exactly. So back onto that client who's busy and decides to pull back on marketing.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that people tend to forget is, there's a pipeline and there's momentum, and it takes about 4, depending on what it is you sell. I mean, if you're selling a $5 lipstick, probably not so much, but it takes about 4 to 6 months to really establish momentum and create a healthy pipeline. And like you said, every business experiences attrition.
Yeah.
So if you are budgeting to grow 20% next year, that really means you need to grow about 35%, because the average industry experiences about a 15% attrition.
Yep.
And realistically speaking, depending on if you're a local service or an internet-based service or whatever, that attrition rate increases with the more instant gratification that the internet drives.
Yes.
And if you aren't constantly creating a pipeline, filling a pipeline, keeping that momentum and nurturing it, you're going to have this stop, go process in a business. And it's really hard to thrive in that environment. Is that something you see on a continual basis?
Absolutely. Here's what we want as business owners. We want to meet someone for 5 minutes, have a conversation. They immediately leave our conversation. They go to our website. They look at one page on the website and they click buy. That's what we want.
Where do you find those people at, Misty?
Right? I get it. I want those people too. Unfortunately, that doesn't really work that way most of the time. 98% of the people who show up on our website aren't going to buy the first time that we find them there. So what do you do about that as a business owner, right? The thing that we teach, obviously, we're in digital marketing, is if that visitor gets there and you don't capture their information, you have no way to follow up with them. With the exception, I'm not going to get into the strategy of it, but you can pixel them and retarget them on Facebook or Google or whatever. Yeah. But it makes it a lot harder when you only have one way that you can communicate with that individual. So what you want to do is you want to capture their information. How do you do that? Give away something for free in exchange for their contact information. It's a strategy, right? And so we want to make sure that we do that. Now we've got this person who filled out our free resource, right? And what do we want to do? We want to send them one email and buy our stuff. And it just doesn't work like that. And you know, you and I were talking about this, you know, this is where nurturing becomes critically important. And when you think about, I actually just recently wrote a blog about the difference between marketing and sales, because even though they overlap in their similarities, they are actually two different activities. Marketing is more relational driven, and sales are more transactional driven, right? And so when it comes to converting the people that we've, you know, our prospects or leads that we've captured, we've got to get into the mode of nurturing. And the reality is, and I see this, I mean, as a business, you know, over the last 9 years, we've served over 2,600 businesses. So we've seen this time and time again. Most businesses don't nurture.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I call it the S&M of business, right? You have sales and marketing, and it's the nasties that people don't talk about. And reality is they are very autonomous, and they're also very synonymous. And what I mean by that is you need both departments. You need both processes in order for a company to succeed, because the marketing is what dates the client. The sales is what marries the client.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you need both departments to shake hands and be on the same page so that you can serve your prospective clients to becoming happy clients, right? And so many people think that marketing is sales and sales is marketing. Like, I'm going out door knocking. Great. Why? Oh, because I'm looking for clients. Are you looking for clients, or are you looking to build relationships? Because if you knock on the door at 5 o'clock at my house, you better be ready and prepared linguistically to deal with it.
Right. Absolutely.
It's a marketing experience, right? And then from there, after you've marketed, after you've nurtured, after you understand your prospective client, your avatar, then you know how long you have to date them to ask them to marry you, so to speak, right?
Absolutely.
And like you said, the ideal business, or the business expectation, is meet them, sell them. However, that's probably less than 3%.
Yeah. Well, that's the equivalent of, hi, my name's Misty. Will you marry me?
Right.
Like, wow, where'd that come from? And who the heck are you? Right?
Exactly.
Like, back off. And when we approach our marketing like that, which most people do, we actually push people away rather than pull them in closer to us and wanting them, you know, them wanting to know more about us. So we have to be careful of that. We need to make sure that we do our due diligence. And so the next question I always get, okay, so what is nurturing, Misty? Right?
That's what I was going to ask you.
That's
my note right here.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, nurturing in my world and with the customers that we work with is providing additional guidance, expertise, experience. It's what we're doing today, right? We're sharing insight on your podcast that hopefully some listeners listening to and going, wow, if I could take this one concept, this one idea to help me move forward, it can help you in your business, right? It's as simple as that. That's nurturing. So nurturing is creating content, creating information, and putting that information readily available in front of your audience. And I call it ungated content. Ungated means, so once I've captured your name and email, I don't need you to re-opt into everything I create, right? So what I do is I create ungated content. What is that? Those are blogs, podcasts, video trainings. We do webinars a lot, things like that, you know, trainings that you give away for free. And it's a way that you are able to position yourself as an expert, build trust and rapport with that prospect. And then here's the thing, people always say to me, well, okay, Misty, if I go and I give away all my stuff, all my knowledge, all my expertise, they're not going to hire me. That's not actually true. I live in Arizona. Most people don't even have grass, but everybody has a landscaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reality is people don't want to do the work, right? Not to mention you can't do everything in the work. You can't do everything. For those of us who are trying to do everything, hopefully you figure that out very soon and have a better life, right? So you can't do everything. So we need people in our lives. We need accountants. We need doctors and dentists. I mean, we can't. So even if you taught me everything I need to know, I just don't physically have the time to do everything myself. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it, they just want to know they can trust you. Like, people say to me all the time, Misty, I read your blogs. I absolutely love them. I can't believe the amount of stuff that you give away. It's not like I don't have a line drawn where I go, well, I hold this back and then I only share this. I share it all. Mm-hmm. And if you're the type of person that wants to become the marketer in your business, that's great. You can do that through our blogs, but who's going to be selling? Who's going to be working with your clients? Who's going to be doing all the things you should be doing in your business at the same time, right? So I don't ever fear giving away too much, mm-hmm. because I just know that our readers, once they read it and they realize, wow, she really knows her stuff, mm-hmm. then they'll hire us to become their marketing coach.
Mm-hmm. You know, there's a difference between a product, service, and a solution, right? Mm-hmm. So you're very service based, yes. And with the information you're providing to people, you're absolutely right that there comes a point where they have to make a decision. If I do this myself, what else am I sacrificing?
Exactly.
You know, in my industry, I do have to hold back a little. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because there's a thing in the mind called premature closure. Mm-hmm. And that premature closure, let's face it, let's be real, nobody likes premature anything, right? So this premature closure, what happens is, you know, I don't offer a service, I don't offer a product, I offer a solution. Sure. And that solution is your mindset, techniques, modalities, tools, stuff like that. And if we give away too much information, then the person turns around and says, I'm going to go do this. And when this works, I'll come back.
Right.
Well, what happens is we already know they're part of the problem. Because they're part of the problem, they can't be part of the solution.
Right.
So when that's the case, they'll get this information. They don't take action, or they take action from the perspective that they're only capable of developing at that moment. And it doesn't work. And then they turn around and go, see, another thing that doesn't work. All these right. gurus, you know, they're selling air. And well, in reality, it's nothing more than premature closure. So when they're out ingesting podcasts or watching YouTube or reading blogs or vlogs or participating in webinars, it's important to remember the reality that you've created off your programming. And there is a huge difference between a product, a service, and a solution. If mm-hmm. you're looking for a solution where there is no product or service, you have to remember you're the common denominator in everything in your life. Doesn't matter what I give you. The outcome right. will always be the same unless it's a facilitated learning, right?
Right. Yeah.
So and in that situation, what do you think?
Absolutely. Well, so when I say that we give away everything, I mean, right. we're not building
algorithms and
well, yeah, we're not building algorithms, and we're not building landing pages and websites for them. Right. What we're doing is we're giving them the advice that they need to make exactly. a good buying decision. Right.
Exactly.
So like when you read my blogs, I tell you exactly what needs to be done. Yesterday, I wrote an article on, you know, holiday marketing made easy. And right. I went through all of the steps and I said, okay, so this is what you need to build. And it's like, you know, 50 some things.
Yeah. Good luck.
High five, get her done. Right.
Right.
Now, the reality is most people are going to read that and they're going to go, you know, great, thank you. Mm-hmm. But I don't have time to do all of that. Right. So mm-hmm. I want to hire the experts who know what they're doing. And that blog proved that we're the experts. And right. we just so happen to have a call to action that says, hey, need help implementing this? We can help. Right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to your business, it's completely different. You know, I've been through your training as well. And, you know, a blog is not going to change someone's entire mindset and position, you know, where they're at. I mean, it's a process, right?
Yeah.
With what you do. So, you know, you can't solve all their problems or get them unstuck or with one blog, right? There's a lot of things to tackle there. So yeah, I would totally agree with you. So yeah, and even the blog that I wrote yesterday, as phenomenal as it was, pat myself on the back. It's only one aspect. It's one aspect. It's one 30-day marketing strategy. What happens the rest of the year? That one blog isn't going to be everything that they need. So of course they want to hire us. They just want to know that we know what we're doing and that we're going to guide them every step of the way.
Absolutely. So, you know, I know several things that you do. You know, you are a campaign funnel expert, you know, you are a CRM expert, you are a web developer expert, you're a graphics expert. You and your daughter's graphics are incredible.
Thank
right?
you.
I heard you just got back into photography again. So you're really becoming this whole one-stop solution for marketing.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do is, because there's a huge, what word am I looking for? Misunderstanding out there about CRMs, right? Yes. A lot of people think that they sign up for, what is that? MailChimp, that's what it is. MailChimp or Constant Contact, iContact, Aweber. Zero disrespect to any of them. They all serve a purpose, right?
Absolutely.
However, they think that's their CRM.
Yeah.
So can you give some clarity as to email marketing, CRMs, the difference between the programs I just mentioned and a robust CRM? Can you kind of educate people on that? Because I think that there's a huge lack of understanding of it.
Yeah. So a couple of things I would preempt this with is, number one, if you're running your business off a yellow legal pad, you don't have a business. And I'm not being mean. I'm being realistic. Absolutely. And someone needs to tell you that, because it's just unrealistic. And this is coming from an old school salesperson. Like back in the day, I had freaking tickler files.
Yep.
Remember those? The little
Rolodexes. Yeah.
Grandma used to put recipes in it, not me. I put prospects in it. You know, but so you can't, in today's day and age, you cannot be running your business off a yellow legal pad. That's number one. Number two, I am not a shiny object person. I absolutely hate getting new computers, phones, you name it. I can barely work the remote control to my TV, to my smart TV, still to this day. I'm just not a shiny object. I'm not a technology person. So I want you to know this, because I think it's important that you understand. For me, when I first started my business, and we're talking about my marketing business, right? 9 years ago, I started off with a yellow legal pad. And then I went, well, this isn't working, right? Can't keep crap of anything. And I'm waking up in the middle of the night getting no sleep because I'm worried about who I forgot to follow up with, right? Not a good way to grow a business. So I actually signed up for Constant Contact. I signed up for Aweber. I signed up for a lot of those smaller, claiming to be CRM solutions. And don't get me wrong, they will allow you to put your list in there. You can send out newsletters. They have some functionality. But here's what I've learned since now 9 years in business. We need a complete solution. And it's not just, we need the CRM aspect. We also need the marketing aspect. We need the sales aspect, and we need automation, especially as solo and entrepreneurs. And even big businesses, you need to be able to have the ability to automate repetitive tasks so that they don't take all of your time, right? So that you can be more efficient. We talk about it in, we call that scaling your business, right? So when I met the software that we use, which is called Keep, it used to be formerly called Infusionsoft. This solution at the time offered me automation, the CRM aspect, a way to keep track of my prospects in a sales pipeline. It had all these different features. Today, Keep has really evolved. They really want to provide small businesses everything that they need in one solution. And the reason why people ask me all the time, well, Misty, I've seen Keep before, I've heard of it, but I don't think I'm ready for it. if you're serious about growing your business, you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's my philosophy. And I know because I've done it. When I had MailChimp, I spent a ton of time, hours and hours and hours developing, newsletters and managing my list and trying to segment it in there. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, I really want to do text marketing. And I really would love to have some automation. I would really love, there's all these other features that I want as well. Appointment scheduling, the ability to do, and they don't do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so now all the work I put there, I now have to go find another software solution and go rebuild it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep rebuilding. So it's kind of like you would never, build a house on a sand, on a beach.
Right.
The tide's coming in and it's going to wash your house away. Right.
Yep.
So that's what happens in the process of growth of a business is, those might fill a need right now, but the time and energy that you're investing is to waste because you're going to have to go find a real solution that
Mm-hmm.
offers you everything that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Keep does. Like, you can do appointment scheduling, it's the CRM aspect, task management, project management, sales pipeline, text marketing, landing pages. Heck, you can build your website in there now.
Mm-hmm.
Email marketing, broadcast, like you name it, they basically do it. And they have a roadmap for additional growth as well. So here's my philosophy. I'm not saying Keep's the best software solution out there for every
Mm-hmm.
single business.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on what your needs are. There are other solutions out there that are also viable, but you really need to think when you choose your software solution, choose for the long game, not this week, not this
Smart
year.
advice. Yeah, smart advice. So many people start, I'll say in air quotes, that business word, right? However, they make very short-term decisions. I can't afford this. I don't have time for this. I don't know how to do this, or that's too much money, or fill in the blank, whatever those short-term decisions are. And what happens is it's kind of like starting a business or I'm sorry, it's kind of like getting pregnant and really not knowing if you're going to keep the kid through college or not.
Right.
It's kind of, I mean, when
we can stay till they're 7, but they're out of here after that.
Yeah, they get expensive. When they start going to school, especially if they're into fashion, they get pricey and they eat.
Yeah.
The more they grow, the more they eat.
They get a little lippy in the teenage years. So you have to put up with that.
To that. At 13, it's like they become these aliens, and it's who the heck are you? Right? Businesses are no different. Businesses morph. They've got their infancy, they've got their toddler phase when they throw fits when you don't pay attention to them. Then they've got that adolescent and amen to that teenager phase. I remember when my business gave me lip and I realized what can I do? I can't ground it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to realize if you're in this game called business, there's no such thing as a short-term decision.
Yeah. I talk about that a lot too, is because I help businesses in the startup mode as well. We have a 30-day startup challenge, actually, where we kind of give them guidance on what to do. Because I believe starting a business, literally, I'm being generous in the 30 days because I actually wrote a book, The 5-Hour Startup.
Yep.
So, and how I started a business in 5 hours. So I think it could be done quickly. But when you're starting a business initially, if you're going into the business, hopefully this will work out. You've already decided it's not. Right? You've already made that decision. Yeah. And I don't think that unless you change that mindset quickly, I mean, you're more of the mindset person than I am, but my experience is when people go in with a hopefully, they're not fully committed to the outcome. And I've never started a business. I was like, every business I ever did, even side hustles, right? They were side hustles. But I treated them like a real business from the get-go. And because of that, I always made money. There's not a business I was not profitable in, ever. I think about that, like literally never started a business that was not profitable. Because businesses that aren't profitable are hobbies. Let's not kid ourselves, right? They're not businesses. Businesses make money. And if your business isn't making money, then you need to figure out what you need to focus on to make the money. Yeah, because that really is all it is it's a matter of you're spending time and energy on things that don't generate the revenue.
Yeah.
right? And we've all been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you can't have a plan B when it comes to going into business. That being said, I have started many businesses that ran their cycle, and I went, you know what? I'm done with this business, and now I'm going to pursue something new. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't go into an opportunity going, hopefully, maybe, gee whiz. Because why would, you know what I mean? Let's just go in full force, full intention on getting the outcome that you're seeking. And then if it runs its course, and you can choose a new path. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. When I have a lot of conversations with entrepreneurs who are, they currently have a job and they're working to build a business, I always hear this, I'm going to hold on to the job just in case this doesn't work out. And,
not good.
That's
like sounding the alarm.
Yeah. The advice I give them is when you unlock your door, when you get home and you open the door, are you keeping one foot outside the house just in case you don't like what you're walking into? Or do you walk into the house fully committed? And they look at me and they go, well, it's my house. And I go, yeah, and it's your business. I'm not saying to do something irresponsible, like saying I'm quitting my job, foregoing income to stay committed in my business. I'm saying have a plan.
That's all it takes.
Plan. Yeah.
Have a plan. What do you need in savings and a down payment to put onto the business so that you can go and do what you need to do to make it work?
Yeah.
It is all about a plan. That's all it is. That's what most people lack is they have hopes and wishes rather than strategies and plans.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So Misty, welcome to the signature question of the show.
Yes.
And the signature question of the show is, what does selling without selling mean to you?
That is a great question. And actually, I've been having this a lot with my salesperson I just brought on just this last July. Selling without selling for us, because I truly, I don't know what selling means to most people, but for me, I've always been in a sales position, meaning I've always sold products and services and made a commission from that. And for me, I think that most people look at selling as a convincing someone to take action. Right? Yeah. I never looked at sales like that. I looked at it as selling without selling is listening to what the challenges that they have and aligning those challenges with the solutions that we offer. And so if you tell me you have a problem, Misty, I'm really having marital problems. I'm like, I am not your girl. I'm a marketer. Right. Yeah, but you don't understand. My husband doesn't support me in the business. Again, I'm not your girl. You need a landing page up. We're good. I got you. I got you. But selling without selling is listening to the challenges that they're faced with and aligning your solutions with it. If you don't have solutions, letting them know that. It sounds to me like you have things that you need to work on that I can't help you with. It's that simple.
And if I may, I'd love to expound on that. We talked a lot about nurturing and, the dating, so to speak, and posturing yourself as the expert and really standing in your true power to serve. Right. Yes. And if the itty bitty shitty committee is deploying on a continual basis, I need money, I need a sale, I hope I get this, or, any of that other negative connotations that spiral out of control. I don't know if I can do this. I'm not good at sales. My competition's better. All that self-worth, self-esteem, self-beliefs, limiting beliefs, all of that power, all of that nurture marketing. And if you're standing on that foundation of sand, when the tide's coming in, you're going to get washed. You're going to get washed away because our prospects, our prospective clients, our avatars, energy is a real thing.
Absolutely.
And if something doesn't feel right to them, for them, it's going to make sense for them to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so many people don't realize that you enter an engagement before you ever get there.
Yeah.
And it shows up in your words. It shows up in your thoughts. It shows up in your visions, big or small. And it shows up in the way you communicate. And it's why we say, get out of your way so you can get on your way and have your way. Because reality is, we are our biggest competition. And the only way to sell without selling is to be authentic, congruent, stand on a platform of authenticity and self-reliance, self-belief, self-worth, self-trust. Because when you turn around and deliver that verbiage, oh, I can't afford that, I can't do this. If you can't believe in yourself, if you can't invest in yourself, how can any prospective future client ever believe in you or invest in you?
Yeah. My daughter, so a few years ago, she was like 15, 16 at the time. She comes running down the stairs like a herd of elephants. And she's like, and she's like, oh my gosh. She goes, I made 13 cents. I was like, congrats. And she goes, no, I sold one of my pictures. So she draws and then she makes stickers out of them, and she sold one on Etsy or one of the sites. I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was Etsy, but anyway, she sold one. She's like, I made 13 cents. I was like, freaking high five, man. I said, if you can sell one, you can sell a billion.
Yeah.
If you can sell one, you can sell a billion.
Yeah.
Like, how powerful of a mindset is that? If you have gotten one person to say yes to you, you can sell 1 million, 100, whatever the goal is that you have.
Yeah.
We just need to have the mindset to be present with people. And rather than creating stories in my mind, they don't like me, they don't this, they don't that, or I'm this, or I'm that. Instead of creating the stories, basically wash your brain of any preconceived ideas and just show up for the conversation. And whatever comes out of the conversation comes out, and then guide them if it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
And reality is, the only way anybody can ever say yes to you is if you say yes to you.
Yes.
Period.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Misty, welcome to the random round. As our listeners know, success leaves clues. And I like to ask our expert guests questions so that our listeners can go, you know what, I really like that, and apply to their life. So I have 2 questions for you. First and foremost, what's your morning ritual look like?
All right. Well, so I've had many coaches who have kind of talked about this, and it is important on how you start your day, kind of sets the stage. So I'm very simple. I get up and I work from home. So my office is you're in my office right now in my home. Right. And so I get up, I let the dog out, I grab water. I have some supplements that I take. I have essential oil that I get started. It's called Motivate.
Yeah, I use that too.
Yeah, I love Motivate.
Yeah, and adaptive. I like Motivate and adaptive.
I did. Yeah, I've got them all. I've got so many oils. It's ridiculous. But I get the oils going, and I actually go outside because our dog is getting a little older and she can't be left alone. So I walk her outside, and I walk out barefoot because they say that there's something about grounding yourself.
Yeah.
Right. On a spiritual level, when you walk outside barefoot. So I do that, and I walk around with the dog until she goes and does her business. And I bring her back in, and I walk upstairs and I start my work day. Right. It's that simple. But when I start my work day, I think the most important part of my work day that I've changed for me is don't check emails first thing in the morning. Because for me, checking the emails got me off on tangents. And for whatever reason, I thought everything was a fire, but it's not. It's not. I made it a fire. I was actually the fire starter. Yeah. I thought the client showing up in my inbox was the fire starter. It's not. It was my reaction to it that made the fire start. So I stopped doing that, and I started just going, I'm going to check my inbox, but I'm only going to check it 2 or 3 times a day, and at specific times. So that way I'm not off on tangents. That's been a game changer for me.
Nice. I love
Huge.
that. Thank you for sharing that. So my second and last random round question for you is, and this is probably one of my favorite questions to ask, and that's, what's your favorite word and why?
So my favorite word, intentional.
I love that word. Why?
Because I think most of us go through life drifting, and drifting sucks. And if you, it sucks. You don't realize it sucks until you don't drift anymore. Because some of us are wired where we think well, if I drift, then there's no expectations and I can't fall short. Mm-hmm. But actually, if you've ever been on a river or a lake, right? I'm originally from Michigan, and when a log falls into the water, it doesn't stay in the middle. Yeah. It doesn't have a course. It just goes where it's goes pushed.
With the flow. Yeah.
Goes with the flow. It goes where it's pushed. And where does it end up? I mean, 100%. I don't care if you live on water or not. It ends up in the side with all the muck and the guck and the stuff that shouldn't be in water. Yeah. Right. And that's what happens to us in life, is that when we drift and we're not intentional about our day and our week and our time and our goals and the way that we approach life. And that doesn't mean that you can't just be present in moments without an agenda. That is intentional, right? That's still an intention on that. When we do that, we drift and we end up wherever that takes us. And usually it's not in good places for most of us.
No, we end up where the flow expects us to end up, or where it pushes us to, and that avoids serving us. I love intention. Intentionality is massively necessary for success.
Yes. And actually, so every year I was coming up with new words, and that's the word I started about 7 years ago. And I just, every year, what's your word of the year? Intentional. Yes. What's your word of the year this year? Intentional. Yeah. Because it's a skill to remain intentional too.
Yeah. I pick a word of the year every year. And in 2019, my word was intentionality.
Nice.
And 2019, we had probably my largest growth spurt ever. Yeah. And I have 2020s written down. It was perfect for what the year turned out to be. And we still had a growth spurt then, just not as huge as 2019. Yeah. Intentionality for me is a beautiful word. So Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So Misty, I truly appreciate you sharing your time with us today. I know what your schedule's like, and you being here really means a lot to me, that you set aside time for us. If our listeners want to reach out, connect, follow you, how do they find you?
Yeah. So you can go to our website, which is yourmarketingcoachonline.com, the longest URL in history.
No, mine's longer.
You're typing it out as like, does this ever end? Yourmarketingcoachonline.com. And another way that you can catch us is on Facebook. You can catch us on Your Marketing Coach. You can also look up my name, Misty Kortes. It's Kortes. A lot of people misspell that. I wish I could just go by Misty. It's much easier, but there's a few other Misties in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be the best way to find me. And from there, there's all kinds of resources. So that'll lead you down the path we want you to be on.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Your success is important to me, and it's also important to me to make sure that these episodes are valuable to you. I would love for you to do a few things right now. I'd love for you to hop over to Instagram and follow us at Pivot Point Advantage. That's hop over to Instagram and follow us at Pivot Point Advantage. Second, I'd love it if you'd head over to Facebook and join our Sell Without Selling community. That's head over to Facebook and join our Sell Without Selling community. We have an immense amount of interaction on both platforms. We also share different information on both platforms, so we look forward to seeing you there. Last and definitely not least, I love to chat with you, give feedback on the episodes, and find out any topics that you're interested in to help make this podcast more powerful and helpful to you achieving the success you've always dreamed of, desired, and deserved. Head over to pivotpointadvantage.com/talk to Stacey.
That's pivotpointadvantage.com/talk-to-Stacey. Let's get a 15-minute call on the schedule. I look forward to getting to know you. Always remember this: choice is a powerful thing, and suffering is always optional. Get out of your way so that you can get on your way, so you can finally have your way. Thanks so much for listening, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Whether it's mastering your mindset, communication, or success, we have more ways to keep you on your journey to greatness. Be sure to visit us at pivotpointadvantage.com for exclusive online training programs, success-specific courses, and more ways to connect to Stacey directly to help you achieve the financial success you've always desired, dreamed, and deserved. That's all available on pivotpointadvantage.com.